You don't want your kid to be afraid of you, you know, because when I was younger, I was definitely afraid of my father.
I wanted the relationship with the man that I married. I wanted the relationship that we had for 5 years before he started being violent.
My dad spent most of his time during the week out of town, and so it really wasn't something to look forward to have Dad coming home for the weekend. The belt was always hanging on the bathroom doorknob, and so I always knew, what I was in for at the end of the week. And I kind of see the reason that I was so free in being abusive with the family was I kind of saw that as a continuation of my own childhood. What I used to do is I'd grab Nancy by her arms and, I'd be nose to nose with her and just screaming what I thought should be done right into her face. And so she always had black and blue marks on the back of her arm. And it never dawned on me for a long, long time that I had put them there and that was just my anger. The kids, I used to hit the kids.
He was really quick to throw the hammer down, and especially me and my oldest brother. We definitely got the brunt of a lot of, of the physical stuff.
Like it would start, him and my mom would fight, and he'd start getting really saying really mean shit to my mom, and so we'd get into it too and tell him to shut up and get the hell out of here and stop being such an asshole and everything. But then it would just, like a belt would come out or something would happen, and he'd lose it.
Yeah.
It was hard to see the boys being afraid of him and also being very angry with him at the same time and not knowing what to do with that because he wasn't at any spot where anyone could approach him about his anger.
I was controlling, domineering, overbearing with my wife and my kids for many, many years. The reason I began to pursue change was that Nancy kept prodding me to do that. And what she was doing at that point was planting the seeds for me to see for myself that things weren't going very well, and it was up to me to go out and to make the changes that were necessary.
I was very tired of it, and it seemed like a waste of time, waste of energy, and I didn't want to participate in that anymore.
The depression was years of my abuse that had kind of just beaten her down to the point where she didn't feel like she could function anymore, and she actually wasn't getting out of bed for a while. And then me just getting angrier about that, So it's just a compounding situation here where, I effectively reduced her to rubble, and now I'm angry because of it, So it was all myself. It was all my own actions that got us to this point.
He seemed to be reluctant really to give up his anger, but on the other hand, I think he thought somewhere in there that, maybe this isn't working for me. And so he did go and see Stephen.
I first met Scott Gerard when he came in to the Men Overcoming Violence program for an intake interview. And it was a very powerful experience to sit with him while we had this interview, because I watched him open up in a way that it was clear he had never opened up before about what was going on in his relationship and also what was going on inside himself.
When I was in group, it was week 16, and as strange as it seems, it's another man who decided to take the same route that I did. He was an ex-basketball player, and he was sitting across the room from me, and he leaned over, and he just leaned over in his seat and put him nose to nose with me, and he said to me, "I've been listening to the same shit come out of your mouth for 16 weeks. I think it's time you decided you were either going to make some changes or stop wasting all of our time." And it was really at that point that I began to, I think, take the work seriously.
After a while, I got a job, and my job was working during the dinner hour. And Scott's job at that time was working from 5 a.m. till 1 p.m. And so he was here as I was leaving for work. And so he had to take on the task of preparing dinner.
So it took a few years, but the kids all came around to expecting that there was going to be dinner every night, and there was dinner every night. It was relatively good, and so that became kind of a comfort rather than a threat. I became a comfort to them in the household.
I think that by our son seeing him prepare dinner, be here, and be open to them, because after a while they did become pretty angry with him and would, want to confront him, and did confront him, and realized that he wasn't going to be angry back at them, that they were able to put a lot of that to rest, I think.
I have no desire to return to any of that behavior. I understand how it didn't ever serve me. Everyone is working on their own issues. My wife is relatively happy with the way things have turned out. I'm certainly happy, and I have peace in my life every day.